Oh, by the way, gotta check this out. So I'm gonna need a cannon side binding. Wait, don't I have a cannon side binding? Wait, I need I need a cannon side binding. The heck? Okay, so let me just see. Cannon side binding, cannon side alt. Okay. Oh! Oh, that is sexy. Welcome guys, patch 15.2 for PUBG is coming right now, and it is the free-to-play patch that will invite a bunch of new players into the game by making the game free to play, but also by adding several features that will make it easier to play PUBG. The first thing to note is that PUBG will be going down for about 38 hours. This is the longest maintenance we've ever had. It is obviously because we're going free to play, and I think it has something to do with changing the Steam store and all the stores to make sure that the game is indeed free. And now for some of the new features. PUBG are adding tactical gear, which low-key makes your character into a class. Like, it's kind of a system that by picking up a specific item, your character is no longer an anonymous character, but it kind of becomes a class. And I'll explain what that means. The tactical drone here is an item you can pick up. It will replace a weapon slot, so you cannot have two primary weapons. Instead, you will replace one of them with the drone. The drone is quite powerful. It spawns on every map. It's pretty easy to find. It's something you can use for surveillance, mostly. It is a surveillance drone. You can fly it about 300 meters away before you lose signal, but you start losing signal a bit earlier, and it becomes a little bit difficult to see what's going on out there. However, it can also pick up items, so you could essentially scout out an item, pick it up with the drone safely. But you can also fly to places like a roof and check for loot in a place you otherwise wouldn't be able to go to. There's some of these places on Miramar. And that's also quite interesting. You could also use it to hide an item. Let's say you drop an AWM, and you want to fly it away, right? Let's say you want to scout on an airdrop and see if someone has looted it. You can also do that safely here. But most of all, I feel like the drone goes hand in hand with another feature that's coming in this patch, which is the 3D marker or visual marker, which is basically enabling you to fly the drone and then mark enemies from the air, which is going to be available in a 3D environment to your teammates. That is very powerful, and that makes the drone into kind of this recon class. So picking up the drone, you're suddenly a recon class. A great thing if you're one of those guys in your team that aren't the best with the guns. So then you can actually help the team like this. This is going to be a big help. And when it comes to the specific details of the drone, there are some few kinks there. You cannot put C4 in the drone. Well, kind of you can right now, but that's a bug. That's going to be fixed. You can fly it away 300 meters, like I said. It has 35 health, so it dies very quickly, but you can pick it up and repair it very quickly and then use it again. If you take damage while you're flying the drone, you're no longer going to be able to fly the drone. It will kick you out of drone view. And there's also a cool feature to recall the drone, where it will fly to you automatically. The controls are also kind of simple and intuitive, and I think most people will pick this up really quickly. So the second new tactical gear is the Emt Gear. This makes you not into a recon, this makes you into a medic. A medic that will be able to heal their teammates with the Emt Gear, which is this healing bag. You have several benefits that are really, really strong. I think every team will want this. It's even going to be something I will consider using in solo, because with this, you can, like I said, you can heal your teammates using your own heals. You can heal them super fast. All your heals will only take 3 seconds to do. Even the big medkit will take only 3 seconds and will boost whoever you're healing or yourself fully as well. So you're gonna get full boost, full health in 3 seconds. That's insane. You can also revive teammates in only 3 seconds, which is also insane. Like, that is huge. And overall, you also move faster when healing, and you can use your bandages and first aid to heal to full. So you don't need to be boosted. You can just pop a few bandages and then you go from 75% health to max health. This is an insanely strong item. It's going to be something, I see this in every single squad out there. Maybe there's going to be a few squads that prefer just going all out assault rifle, DMR, assault rifle sniper, very, very skilled gun players. Sure. But let me say that the vast majority of teams will probably want to have this. This is really good. And if you're not the strongest shooter out there, well, this is what you can do. Again, a great thing for new players, because new players will not only be able to recover faster from taking damage and going down, but also there's a role here for someone who is not comfortable shooting in a game that is difficult to shoot in, like PUBG. There's also the new tutorials. I already covered this in a video where I talked about free-to-play, so I'm not really going to go that much into this, but I can tell you guys that I did play through all the tutorial content now, and it's really good. I think it's super strong. The initial and basic training, it's very basic. Like, you don't learn how to move and loot and use a heal. I mean, that's super basic, but it's going to be helpful for new players. They will get into the game faster, less frustration, higher chance of the players that are completely new will just pick up the game faster and not leave too early. Also, the AI training match, this whole concept is great. This is the perfect use of bots. I've been highly criticizing bots in PUBG for a long time because I don't like bots, but this right here, it's perfect. This is how you use bots. Use it to train up new players, let them learn how to play the game, and while you play this, you also get tips and tricks in the upper left corner of the screen. When I played this, the tips scrolled through too quickly. It was not really possible for me to read the tips, so that really needs to be slowed down, or somehow a way to view the tips on the go and like manually skip to the next tip, something like that. Because this is actually a really great way to do it. You also get rewards. There's like this whole new reward system that players get some cool skins, they get some BP, they get some G coin, they get some tickets for the contraband system. Like, overall, this is just a really good way to introduce new players to the game, I think. So it's not forced, you don't have to do it, but the rewards are kind of cool. I mean, you get some pretty nice skins and stuff, so you want to do this. And the same thing goes with training mode. Also got a huge upgrade here, because you get this menu that we only saw in sandbox mode for PUBG partners so far. You can pull this up by pressing the keybind for that. That depends what you put it to. But for me, it's on my comma button. But make sure you look that up for yourself. You can open this wherever you go in the training map. This is a place where you can just spawn weapons, attachments, all items in the game. You can spawn them here and set up your guns and whatever you want to practice with really quick. You can also adjust your sensitivity on the go in this menu, which is really smart, because this becomes this way of quickly adjusting and learning how to use the different guns in the training mode. With the sensitivity added, you can also easily play around with vertical sensitivity. I think a lot of people will benefit from that. Also, you will use this in the new training area, which is a really cool training area, because in there, they call it the practice range. In there, you can spray at a target on various distances. It goes up to 50 meters on various distances, and you can get a result on a screen, on a monitor. It will tell you how accurate you were. You actually get a reading of how well you control the spray. My only really critique with this is that it's difficult to go crouch. So this is mostly for standing sprays, but you can jump on the table and then go crouch in this room. Because I think crouch sprays, those are the ones you should be doing the most. You should only be doing a standing spray when you cannot go crouch. Remember that crouch spraying reduces the recoil by, it's a 20%. Like, it's a lot. So definitely worth to always do when you can. Another big quality of life improvement for PUBG is that they're now adding action queuing. What this feature does, and I might go into more detail about this in a video, this is something that you should enable right away. When you open the game, enable this, because this is turned off by default. I don't know why they did this. Well, I do know why they did this. They did this because it might give you some bugs that they haven't tested yet. Because this is a big feature. It's reaching into a lot of other features in the game, so there's a lot of bug potential. That's why they're turning it off by default. But this is just such a huge feature, because what it does is that when you are performing an action, let's say you are reloading your gun, then an enemy appears in front of you and you want to shoot. You start shooting before the reload animation is over. Your gun never starts shooting, even though you're holding down the trigger on your mouse. A more common example would be a similar situation where you are reloading your gun, swapping between weapons, landing on the ground after a jump, jumping out of a car, something like that. And then there's an enemy. You need to quickly engage that enemy. You right click or hold right click because you want to hold to ADS. You want to go ADS. You want to aim down sight. The gun never aims down sight because you clicked a split second before you could. The animation was still playing. Whatever you were doing was still happening in the game. And so your input that you want to go ADS so you can shoot at that target accurately never got picked up by the game. And what happens is that then you would just end up hip firing because you're going to still be shooting. So you're going to just end up hip firing and you will lose the fight. I've died like this many times in PUBG. Now with this feature enabled, your gun will ADS when it can. It will shoot when it can. So that is huge. And I highly recommend that you enable this right away. The Win94 and VSS also get some improvements in this patch. The Win94, like you saw in the beginning of the video, will now get an ability to flip down its scope. So you can use the iron sight with the Win94. The VSS, you can now put a candid sight on the VSS. And yes, that might sound great, that now you're not forced to always use that 3.5 times scope. But in practice, this is not something I will be using. I'm a huge fan of the VSS. You guys know this, and I got very excited when I read this in the beginning, but just look at this. The VSS with the candid sight is, I will call this dead on arrival. The scope of the VSS covers up such a huge portion of the screen that this is just cutting away so much of your information. It's going to make close quarters very difficult. I just recommend that you do what I've always done, is that you aim with the target mode, the targeted hip fire. You just use that instead in close quarters, and otherwise go ADS with the scope. I do not recommend using this candid sight. I'm really sad to say this because, man, I want this. What they should be doing is add an option to put a normal red dot on the gun. Like swap between the 3.5x scope and a normal red dot. PUBG is also changing how brutal it is to get knocked, because when you get knocked, there's 1 second where you are immune to damage. That is when you're falling to the ground, the animation of you being knocked, you're like, ow, that hurt, you're landing on the ground. There's 1 second where you cannot get damaged. That time is being increased by 50%. So it sounds like a lot, but it's being increased from 1 to 1.5 seconds. That's going to make it more difficult to finish someone when you are shooting someone and you just hold the spray and you keep spraying until they fall to the ground, and then you finish them right away. So it's going to remove some of these instant finishes, simply because you're going to run out of ammo in that time span. So that's interesting. It's going to remove some frustration with that. And also, when you get knocked, it's very punishing to get knocked several times because you bleed out faster and faster and faster. And while deep down, I think they should just remove this penalty because it kind of penalizes playing aggressively and getting involved. However, I'm happy to see that the third knock is being increased from 13 seconds to 30 seconds. So you simply live twice as long when you're knocked for the third time, and a little bit longer from the first and second knock. So I think this is overall good. Like we're just not there yet where I think it should be, but I think this is good. Also, yeah, you move faster when you are knocked, and damage from frag grenades have been reduced by 20% when you're knocked. So overall, what they're doing with this is that they're just making it less punishing to be knocked. PUBG is not adding a revive feature where you can revive finished teammates, but they're just making it more difficult to be finished. And now to a highly debated feature, the visual ping or screen ping marker. I talked about it a little bit earlier when I was talking about the drone. This is a marker you can place in the world by pressing a button, and then it pops exactly where you're aiming. This is a way to, instead of saying guy at the tree, you can say guy at that tree, guy on my ping, enemy on my ping. This eases up communication so much, especially now I'm a European player. Whenever I've been playing in European random squads, communication almost always an issue. Now all you got to do to be able to be helpful in communication with a team you otherwise are unable to communicate with is to press the ping marker and perhaps say enemy. That's it. You have to know one word to be much more helpful than before. And this is just a nice quality of life feature. All other battle royales have this, and I think PUBG should also have it, not because other battle royales have this, but because I think it's time for PUBG to add this. We're putting in a bunch of new players into the game right now with free-to-play, hopefully a bunch of new players. We want those new players to feel welcome. We want them to feel like this is a game they can learn to play. Experienced players have callouts for so many buildings, so many positions. They have trained communication to tell their teammates where they see an enemy. They are able to see an enemy much faster because they're better able to use the sound cues of the game, and they're more experienced as to knowing where the enemies are. New players will benefit from this a lot. Older players will, and good players will also benefit from this, obviously. So it's going to make older players stronger, but it's going to make new players much stronger. I like this feature. I think it's good. There's some things that could be improved. Like right now, it is really strong in the sense that you can still see the marker without line of sight. So that means it makes pre-fire possible and much easier. Like you can aim on the dot before you are exposing yourself. And I agree with what people are saying about this. That should probably not be possible. And also, I like the idea that it will vanish after some seconds, maybe 5 seconds. Also a good idea I've seen in the community. So it's not perfect, but the 3D marker should be in PUBG. That's my opinion. The map and minimap also get some visual improvements. I'll just scroll through them right here. It certainly looks better. I like the coloring. I like it overall, and that's nice. The lobby also looks better now. I think they cleaned it up very nicely. It has a more modern and more clean look. I'm overall a fan. In the beginning, I was like, hey, do I like this because it's new? Or do I like it because I think it's actually better? I think it does look better. So very positive about that too. And scrolling through the last few couple of patch notes here, there's nothing I want to go into in this video. But I always recommend that you read this stuff for yourself. It's always something that you can get some cool knowledge about. And I think especially now, this might be an interesting time to come back to the game. If you put it on the shelf for a while and you haven't played it, maybe now when it goes free to play, that could be the time you should be playing. And I think with this patch, PUBG is making a step in the right direction towards making the game easier for new players. This is how we make sure the game doesn't die, by getting new players to play it. Otherwise, it will die. It's as simple as that. So thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the patch. Remember, it's going to be down for 38 hours-ish. Like, the game's going to be down for a lot of hours before you can play it. But then it goes live, and it's going to be very exciting to see what happens. I'll see you guys next time. I like this. Guy in the window. Okay, what window? There's like a million windows here. Well, that window. Oh, nice.